Yeah, I think that what we have to remember when we compare mobilization in the Civil War to other American conflicts is what's different about mobilization in the Civil War is it's really hard to mobilize against yourself until you're in the Civil War. Just a few weeks ago, I was reading a letter that a federal government official had sent to Edmund Ruffin in 1860. Ruffin wanted to know the exact distance between Fort Moultrie and Fort Sumter in Charleston Harbor, and could the federal government please supply this private citizen with this just trivial piece of information? And of course, the federal government was glad to comply with that request. And so we have this tricky problem with the Civil War and mobilization. And I think Dr. Rohr makes a valid point that the South, of course, the Confederacy had a head start, right? Because they could plan for this war in advance in a way that the United States couldn't until it was already in it. And the questioner raises a valid question about creating the correct mindset, right? I mean, that's critical, especially when we're talking about two massive modern democracies fighting against each other. I mean, maybe the Confederacy wasn't a democracy. That's a good question in itself, but for another time. Yes, you have to get these people ready. You can't just mobilize material. If you're going to mobilize men to fight in a civil war of all wars, then the mindset has to be there in advance. And so politicians are energized about this problem on both sides well in advance of the logistics of actually putting people in uniform and getting them from point A to point B.